Good evening, Booktopians, and welcome to a very special evening where tonight we're going to solve all of your Christmas gift-giving problems. We're going to find the exact right book for that relative or that friend or that loved one that you just don't know what to get for them. So many books out there, and you've got 2.5 book experts with you today. I count myself as a half because, well, no, let's go with 3. I'm not going to undersell myself.
You're an expert, in my opinion, Mark.
If you need a sci-fi or fantasy recommendation, I don't know a better person that I would ask other than you, Mark.
Thank you. So if you're looking for something horrific to read for a relative this Christmas, I'm your person. But let me introduce the panelists. Well, first, myself, I'm Mark Harding. I'm the content and brand manager for Booktopia. You may have seen me on this very Facebook page from time to time talking to authors. And today, instead of talking to authors, I'm talking to 2 of our very own Booktopians. First up next to me is Shanu Prasad, who is your favorite lifestyle category manager. Hello, Shanu.
Hello, and the only one you know. So thank you anyway.
And I've also got your favorite category manager for fiction, Mr. Ben Hunter. Hello, Ben. Welcome to Booktopia Facebook TV Live.
Hi, Mark. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do tonight is we are going to talk about some of the books that we've picked that we think are going to be the hot tickets this Christmas. These are the books that should get under the Christmas tree, and we're going to tell you who you should be getting them for. So not just what we love, but who they're for. And if you have questions about relatives and friends that you want to buy for, you have somebody who, they liked a book, but you're not sure what to get them and you'd love to get them a book because who doesn't want to give and receive books at Christmas, you can ask us. Ask us a few questions. Let us know in the comments a few things about the person that you're buying for, and we will let you know the exact right book that you should get. Now, my screensaver's gone off, so I'm just going to very subtly switch it back on again. Nobody noticed that. Excellent. Now I have my run sheet again, and we can go. So to begin with, I'm going to ask a series of questions that for my relatives and my friends and my family, because I don't know what to get. So first up,
it's starting to sound very selfish, Mark.
I know. Well, I'll start with myself, and then we'll move on to everyone else. And this is a good way for you people out there who are watching to get to know the kinds of things that we want to hear from you, so that we can help define the exact right book. So my aunt is a teacher, and she loves to watch Midsummer Murders. The last book that I know for a fact she loved was Dervla McTiernan's The Good Turn. Ben, what should I get her for Christmas?
Oh, well, sounds like your aunt. It's your aunt, right?
It is my aunt. Yeah.
Total crime buff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dervla McTiernan is, I've got to hand it to your heart. Dervla McTiernan is the best of crime. She's writes incredible books. In terms of other incredible crime writers, I couldn't think of anything bigger than Jane Harper this Christmas. I've got a copy. It is The Survivors. It's her 4th novel. This is gorgeous. It's set in a tourist town in Tasmania, right on the coast, the middle of nowhere. As you would expect, there's a murder. And Jane Harper is just possibly the most evocative Australian crime author working today. Her stuff is just immaculate and incredible. Sarah is our on-staff crime queen. I never try and battle with her position of royalty. And Sarah reckons it's Jane Harper's best yet. So if it's good enough for Sarah, Mark, I reckon it's good enough for your aunt. I'd also recommend, if she loves Dervla, which taps into the police procedural sphere, even though this isn't police procedural, but that it has all the grittiness of Dervla's work, but also just totally different and also just radically Australian, is Trust, which is the latest by Chris Hammer. It's his 3rd, and he's just getting better and better book after book. This one is a real page turner. So I just think buy both.
Well,
I agree. I've read them both, and I absolutely agree. I think she, 2 is better than 1 always, right? There's songs written about it.
I mean, I'm not that close to that side of the family, so I think 1 is enough, right?
No. You need both, because they're both completely different yet very complementary to each other. And Australian crime in the best way. I agree with Ben. And
well said.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my second question, and I just wanted to say for the audience who are watching at home, we'll be popping links to the books that we're discussing in the comments. And if you do have questions, please do ask them. Let us know who you're buying for and what the last thing they loved was, and we'll do our best to get an absolutely bang-on recommendation. All right, so my second question, back to selfish me. My partner, he absolutely loves to cook. But he wants it to be an easy process because we're very busy. We're doing Facebook Lives about books all the time. And our kids are, well, to use a mild term, fussy. What are some cookbooks you could recommend, Shanu?
Well, it's really hard this year because there are so many good cookbooks out. But one that I can personally recommend, because I have been cooking from it and had to bring my copy in from home, is A Year of Simple Family Food by Julia Bastille Nishimura. It is amazing. It is her second book. Her first book, Ostro, was fantastic, but this one hits it out of the park. I think there's actually probably finger marks on from me actually cooking from this book. But the spring lamb and green bean stew, of which we have a recipe on the blog actually right now that you can get for free from this book, has been my go-to. And I make it on Sunday and it lasts the whole week. And it is delicious and fantastic and healthy and filling. And then also I made her simple butter cake with raspberries on the weekend, actually last week. And I think, Ben, you ate some.
I ate 2 pieces.
Yeah, it was a hit in the office, and that's just what I made from her book just last weekend. So this one you can't go wrong. She has such great recipes. Goes from all seasons, so you can cook throughout the year. Just pick the season and cook through it. I know that our head of trade product, Joe, also has this book and also has cooked lots and lots out of it. Lots of really easy to prepare, but absolutely delicious recipes. So we are back in stock, which is very exciting. They had to reprint because it sold out so quickly, but there's plenty of stock now. So I would 100% get this one.
So it sounds like I've been getting ripped off because I've been working from home a lot and I didn't get...
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
You come into the office, you get baked goods. I will, we'll deliver. I'll work something out.
Thanks.
But if you buy that cookbook, and maybe your relative will make it.
Yeah,
for you.
if I buy that cookbook, it'll get made for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one is it doesn't really need to be talked about in terms of surely anyone that's into cookbooks knows about Ottolenghi. And even if you don't, you would have seen it everywhere. He's everywhere. But there's a reason, because he's amazing. And this one he has co-written with she's not. He has definitely co-written it. She's not actually on the cover, but she's on the inside cover. It's Belfrage, and she's amazing. And this one has lots of, he was really well known for more sort of Middle Eastern flavors. But this one, because Ixta has a Mexican background, she's brought there's a lot more chilies that are used in this book. It's got a whole section on what they call flavor bombs, which are these easy little things that you can make that you add to all these recipes, and they just add this burst of flavor, which is, exactly what you want from a book called that. He just adds those. They're not complicated recipes, but there's just different ways of pairing ingredients that you wouldn't probably think of if you just opened your fridge and went, what will I make out of this? And so again, Jo, who is sort of our culinary expert here, she's cooked I think probably half of the recipes from this book, and everything she has loved and said is delicious. So that is definitely one that I'd recommend. The third one I recommend, I don't have a copy here, so just pretend I'm holding up the book, which is To Asia with Love, which is Hetty McKinnon's latest book.
I love Hetty.
Yes, exactly. Very good friend of Booktopia. And her latest book is basically all of the recipes that she loves from all around Asia. And our senior content producer of the blog, Liv, has just been talking to me just yesterday about how much she loves all the recipes in that book and how they're perfect for just quick, easy meals with heaps of flavor again. So there would be my recommendations.
Amazing. So that's my aunt sorted.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get delicious food from my partner. That's going to be fantastic. All right. So the next person that I want to buy for is my cousin. And my cousin, he's a bit of an obsessive. He loves action movies. He dragged me to see all those Fast and Furious movies, which is why every time I make a joke about a book sequel, it's like the sequel should be like Two Wolf, Two Hole. That's my cousin's impact on that.
Yeah, that's great.
Let's just take a moment to appreciate that joke. Assume the audience is laughing. Good. So the last book that my cousin got obsessed with was the Three Secret Cities by Matthew Riley. I have a feeling that I know what your recommendation is going to be here, Ben. But how about
Mountains?
Is my cousin?
I think we've got a type for your cousin. No one matches Matthew Riley for just pace and ferocity and stakes. His books are bonkers. Like I read The Two Lost Mountains because I got to interview Matt, which is a dream because that guy is just a freak. And yeah, no one can touch him for just the ferocity of his books. His whole premise is, let's take every wacky idea that they put into an action film, and then let's amplify that to a degree which is so impossible that it could never even be a film. It could never be a movie. So yeah, and if he's reading the series, you got to read The Two Lost Mountains. It picks it up a whole new level, and it takes you right around the planet and secretly to the moon a bit. It's wild. There's a lot of blood. There's a lot of gore. It is not for the kids. It does not hold punches. Yeah, no one does it like that. If you just want just absolute fanatical action and mythological levels of horror and gore. If you're also into the thriller sphere, there's a new Vince Flynn, and there's a new Jack Reacher this Christmas, which is co-written between Lee Child and his brother Andrew for the first time. So that's kind of a change in the series, and I've heard nothing but good news about that. So if you want some fist pumping action, you can't go past Reacher as well.
Absolutely. I think my cousin's going to be very, very happy with that. And can I just say that he's kind of missed a trick with that title there, because it could have been Two Lost, Two Mountains.
It could have been.
It could have been, but it wasn't.
It was not.
I think maybe your cousin's bloodlust in his fiction reading might be derived from your jokes. Who knows?
It's entirely possible. All right. Now on to my best friend. My best friend is a woke vegetarian who's leaning more towards veganism these days. What would you recommend for a woke vegetarian / vegan, Shanu?
Okay, well, the ultimate new vegan book that's out this year is, no doubt, am I holding it right? Sorry. Shannon Martinez's third book, Vegan with Bite. So she is a Melbourne-based chef. She's written 2 previous cookbooks based on her restaurant Smith & Daughters in Fitzroy. And this is the book that you get when you would like other people who aren't vegan to enjoy their food. The food, her food is amazing. It is like you would not know it was vegan if you weren't told it. She herself is not vegan, which is really interesting. But she started a vegan restaurant with a co-chef who was, and so she's basically come from a world where she understands what all the flavors are that people want. And she's worked out, because she's super, super clever, how to turn pretty much every single meal you could want, including Swedish meatballs. Yes, you heard them. Swedish meatballs that you could formerly only get from IKEA, which, now that she's vegetarian or vegan, cannot have. She can make them now for herself. So this is 100% recommendation. The next one that is...
There are vegetarian meatballs at IKEA now. Yeah.
I haven't been since a pandemic, so... I avoid it.
They've been there for a while.
Really?
I've had them. I'm a vegetarian. I have had them at IKEA. I wouldn't really call them food. So I'd like to see the Smith and Daughters rendition. Urgently.
Yes. I think Ben, that might be the next thing that I might make for you. Would be that.
Please.
Yeah. The next book, which is a book for everyone. Yes, it's a good book if you are, a vegetarian or vegan, but this is a good book for every single person. Look how beautiful this book is. Even if you're not a cook, if you just like beautiful books,
It's
then
really chunky too.
Rainbow Pages. It's really chunky. This is like the Bible of vegetable. This is like, would you like to know about, open it up and it will tell you all about onions, potatoes. It will tell you everything. There's pictures. There's recipes. There's facts. It's all color coded. It's beautiful. There's like a gorgeous hot pink bookmark. Alice Zavlatsky is like, she has written just an amazing book that is going to go down in history, like Cook's Companion or the Fish and Seafood Cookbook or the Meat Cookbook that came out last year. This is it. You definitely want this. Everyone needs this one. And then the last one, which is not 100% vegan or vegetarian, but is very plant-based, which is the new IT term for talking about this kind of food, is Use It All, The Cornersmith Guide to a More Sustainable Kitchen. And this is just the best book. I have used it already a lot. Again, this is my copy that I have brought from home. Because every time you have a vegetable and you buy something and you use this much of it, and then you have this much of it left, and you're like, I don't know what to do with that, this book will tell you. I have made the most delicious silver beet, I don't know what to call it, stir fry, that I would have, like, using parts of the silver beet that I previously would have thrown away. So if you want to be less wasteful in the kitchen and make your dollar stretch further and be good for the environment, this is the one that I would recommend.
Awesome. All right. So the next person in my life that I'm buying for is my mum. And look, my mum is.
Why is your mum so far down the list? You've done your cousin and your mate first.
This is in random order.
Okay.
Order. Yeah. This isn't preferential or anything. So my mum, and look, I'll probably get her 2 books at least because I'm closer to that part of the family than I am my aunt. But my mum,
hope he's not watching today.
I hope that none of my family are watching today. I realize the error of my ways. So my mum loves a touching read, a heartfelt read, and she loves to read Australian authors. What do you recommend, Ben?
Touching, heartfelt, Australian are all words that I would use to describe my bestseller. All Our Shimmering Skies by Trent Dalton. How do I get it in the frame? It's too beautiful to fit. This thing is just my favorite book of the year. It's the most uplifting, radical, wild, bold-hearted Aussie thing you'll ever read. Trent is obviously the guy who wrote Boy Swallows Universe, which is just like the most explosive debut in Australian history. And this new novel is so the same in terms of its approach to language and its approach to, like, what would you call it? Like Australiana. But also, it's not Brisbane in the 80s. It's Darwin during, like, the Japanese bombing in 1944, I think. It's the same but different. It just takes you on this wild mythical journey into Australia's interior. And there's all these Indigenous elements that weren't there in Boy Swallows Universe, that are explored in a really creative and loving way, and respectful, obviously. Trent's wild. I just love everything this guy does. He's bonkers, just like Matt, but in a totally different way.
Less trips.
This gives you all the feels, and I feel like it's the perfect. Like, this book was supposed to come out early in the year, and it got delayed because of COVID, and I was devastated because I just wanted people to be able to read this. And I'm jumping for joy that it's out now because after everything we've been through, we need some joy, we need some heart, and just Trent's got it in spades. So, and this thing is just, it's a little work of art in and of itself. It's just beautiful. So if you love your mother, buy a Trent.
I would also, if they made that cover as a shirt, I would probably wear it. As I would probably wear the Boy Swallows Universe cover if it was a shirt as well.
I'd rate those shirts.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think in Praise of Veggies, actually mostly my wardrobe, even though it doesn't look like it today. But like all of those colors, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so that's my mom. So next, my partner has a friend who also loves to cook, but he is very good at it already. Doesn't need easy, doesn't need simple, doesn't have kids. So it's up for new challenges in the kitchen. What do we have on that front, Shanu?
Right. Well, you can't go wrong with a restaurant cookbook. To be, if you're talking about food that is, more complicated than your average, what you can eat at home. And this is one that is amazing. So I was so excited when I heard about this earlier in the year, and also very, very sad that I couldn't go yet to South Australia to eat this food. So Africola is a restaurant opened by Duncan Wilmegod, and it is amazing. The restaurant is amazing. This actual book is amazing. I mean, look at those little fishies. The styling is incredible. Prawn jollof. Oh, wrong way. Sorry, that way. Just everything. And it's just hand foraged summer veg and Najua dressing. Also not pronouncing any of those words. It's just, yeah. So this one is one that, sorry for any of those vegans, but here is the head of a fish. So Africola is, if you can't travel, you can make the food here. He's basically, on the back it like just reads, Duncan's approach to food is fearless, take no prisoners, bold and exciting, inspired by his South African heritage. And that is really the best thing I could say about this. Also another beautiful book, which they all are. The other one I recommend is that it's not that this food is super complicated. It's just it's a little bit more like it, and it's food that she loves. It's not exactly restaurant food, but it's just that sort of slightly elevated. Not every single recipe has pictures, so but the pictures that are there are just beautiful. They just make you feel
look at that asparagus.
Yeah,
so
feel like summer.
The title is Always Add Lemon. Who's the author?
Yes, Danielle Alvarez. She is the chef at Fred's, which is a really popular and well-known restaurant in Sydney. And she has worked with one of the sort of queens of American cuisine, Alice Waters, who basically started the simple food prepared well. That is actually a lot harder to do than you think. So I would 100% recommend this one. Everything in it looks delicious and makes me feel happy and makes me feel like summer, which is exactly what we're heading into, especially if you're in Sydney and was dealing with a 30-something plus degree weather that's today.
And have you fact-checked that book? Does every recipe indeed call for lemon?
I have not actually checked that, Mark, but I'm sure if you ask Danielle, she will be able to tell you that.
I mean, I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Next person on the list. Again, this is in no particular order because now we're at my dad.
Okay.
So my dad, he's retired, and he likes to read every book that wins the Booker Prize. But he also likes to read Australian stories. And since I want to do my Christmas shopping like today and not in a few days when the Booker is announced, and we don't know what that book will be, what would you recommend for me to get for him today, Ben?
Oh, okay. I'm just jealous of your dad. I want to be retired and reading literary fiction all day. Richard Flanagan. This thing also is just a work of art. Sorry, my lights are shining off the shiny cover.
Oh, you can take the top cover off though.
Take the dust jacket off.
A Living Sea of Waking Dreams. It's called. Richard Flanagan. He won the Booker for The Narrow Road to the Deep North. You'll remember. He's one of Australia's best. Look at the even when you take the jacket off, you get this beautiful green thing, and then the thing that you can't really see it on this crappy webcam, but the end pages are like it's like a star system, but just so just neatly done, subdued. This book just totally got me. Richard's like a guy who never writes two books the same, right? He'll write epic sagas, and then he'll write something akin to a thriller, and then he'll write a really meta novel, and he's always changing, and not all of his novels hit their mark, but this one hits it like just bullseye. And I listened to an interview with him, and he was describing how he's working away at something, and then the bushfire catastrophe of last summer occurred, and the sky was black and people couldn't breathe, and the prime minister had like left the country, and he was just in this place where he had to start something different. He went on this totally different route, and the result is this really elegant, really strange, really short novel that is about the catastrophe of our times, but it's also about dying and family, and how do we let things go, and how do we feel alive, and how do we feel real in this day and age. It's a lot to unpack, and at the core of it, there's 3 siblings who have a very elderly mother who lives in Hobart in Tasmania, who is dying, but they cannot accept that, and they are doing everything that our bizarre medical science of today has its power to do to preserve her in this not dead state. And you kind of find out that they themselves are in a not dead state, right? And it sounds really weird that the main character, like her finger disappears, and then different parts of her body disappear, but they don't, like, it's not like a bloody missing limb with blood spurting out. It just goes, kind of like, I don't know, Marty McFly's family in the photo in Back to the Future. It's so strange, but so perfect. It's very hard to describe, and it just burrowed into my brain and stayed there ever since. So in terms of, you know, real book-worthy stuff, I couldn't think much better than that. I'd also challenge your dad to read Nardi Simpson's debut novel, which is called Song of the Crocodile, and that is a big, epic, intergenerational saga about an Aboriginal family near, in the kind of freshwater plains way out west in New South Wales near Walgett, over like the course of the 20th century, heading towards now. And there's all this magic and comedy, but all of this tragedy at the same time. And that is a really powerful Australian novel and an author to watch.
Yeah, I would agree with both of those. I've read both, and they are both still in here. But I also just would say with Richard Flanagan, it helped me immensely. I read the first 3 chapters out loud, and I felt that really, because sometimes his writing style can be a little bit hard to get into, but as I was reading it out loud, it just really made a lot more sense to me. And then the rest of it,
the voice is wild in this book.
Yeah.
Excellent. It sounds almost like reminiscent of like a Philip K. Dick novel or something.
Oh,
we would take your word for that.
There's literally a Philip K. Dick novel about people who are suspended like halfway between life and death, and like all this weird stuff starts to happen. So it just reminded me of that. But you know, it's probably less insane.
I can see where you're coming from with that. But then again, it's probably just a failure of my explanation of this book. This book is really its own thing.
You can't explain it; you just have to read it, right?
Yeah, you gotta go read this thing. I'll get your dad
it.
to read it. Maybe he can explain it better than I can.
I'll borrow it off him when he's done.
That's the trick to Christmas presents. You buy the books you want to read.
Exactly.
See, I do the one for me, one for. No. I just buy 2 copies, and so every time I have 2 wish lists, one which is my wish list and one which is the present wish list, and sometimes I just add them to both. And then
Well, as a bookseller, I wholeheartedly endorse that.
Well, like, you know, you have to do that thing where it's like, I did a good deed by buying a book for someone, and I deserve a reward for that.
100%. That's what Christmas shopping's all about. 1 for you,
Absolutely.
1 for me. 1 for you, 3 for me. Whatever.
All right, so I've got another question for you, Shinu.
Yes.
So the same friend as before, The Good Cook. What is something completely new for them?
Well, I don't know that
person. Getting 2. That's.
Oh well, I don't know. That's because they're really lucky.
Yeah,
but,
they're lucky.
A personal favorite of mine is this book, Xi'an Famous Foods. Now, some people would know about this about Xi'an and have been there. I'm going to do a little bit of I have been there. to the actual Xi'an in China, but also to the restaurant which this book is from. Xi'an's famous in New York, one of my absolute favorite places. Their noodles on the cover is without a doubt the best food ever. Just is. It's got all the flavors, and the cookbook is really awesome. Look, it's got an Anthony Bourdain quote. He said, "Would I prefer to eat at one of the greatest restaurants in the world or this on an average day? Yeah, I prefer to eat here." And that is 100%. And because obviously I can't go to New York anytime soon, I will definitely be making all the recipes out of this book. So Xi'an is in northern China. So it's got all the like these delicious northern Chinese recipes. I mean, we have a lot of really great northern Chinese places in Sydney, but nothing that is exactly like this. Although there's some places in Burwood, if anyone wants a recommendation that I can give you after, if you live in Sydney. But this has also got a little bit of like the history of the area and some photos from Xi'an. So, and also like a beautiful pantry shot, which is always amazing, of all the delicious things that you need to make the food. So this is one for someone that wants to sort of challenge themselves and make something probably that they may not have made before. Can't make this go the right way, sorry.
Well, excellent. Thank you for that, guys. Now, I noticed we've got a few questions that are coming through in the comments. But before we get to those, do you guys have anybody in your life that you're struggling to buy for? And would you like to ask me for a recommendation? Because this can be a two-way street.
Cool. What's the best sci-fi that you've read this year? For anyone who's a sci-fi fan, Mark.
For anyone who's a sci-fi fan, I would recommend. Although, where to begin? Actually,
started something.
If you're into, and I noticed that was actually one of the questions we got through in the comments as well. Somebody asked for questions for their recommendations for their sci-fi nut family. So I would say if you're looking for a big epic space opera, a great place to start is not the Living Sea of Waking Dreams. That's your book. To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Carlini.
And it's a chunker. It's like
the
that
Aragon guy.
Like you'll be there for
Yeah, and it's the Aragon guy. So he wrote Aragon when he was like 19, and now he's all grown up, and he's written this massive tome, which is basically two science fiction novels in one, because there's kind of a point towards the middle where things change, and what you thought was the story kind of it goes to different places. But it's really pacey for an 800-page book. I
love that you said that with a straight face. Only a true sci-fi fan could say that.
Did you read it in one sitting? I must know.
No, it did take a few sittings, but not as many as you would think for an 800-page book. So yeah, I really loved this novel, even though it's for myself, I tend to prefer to go a little bit harder in my science fiction. But this is just so much fun. And if you're a fan of Star Wars, if you're a fan of Star Trek, fan of Battlestar Galactica, you're just going to find so much to enjoy here. And another one that I think is noteworthy is one called A Memory of Empire by Arkady Martin. I've not actually read this one yet because I don't think we have it in stock, but it won the Hugo Award a couple of months back.
Oh, wow.
And so I think that's one, if you can get your hands on it, that would be very good to read. And then also, if you're looking for something just for the general sci-fi fan in your life, I think you can't go past Dune this year. Because if you have somebody in your life who loves sci-fi and has never gotten around to Dune, now is the time. Because there is this massive Dune adaptation coming out. It was meant to be coming out this Christmas. It's now been delayed to October of next year. But Dune is one of the all-time classic science fiction novels. It spawned not only 5 sequels of its own, but a whole bunch of prequels and a whole bunch of novels exploring the mythology of the characters and the world. It really is just a huge epic thing, and it's a great time to get into it. So yeah, Dune would be one I'd recommend.
All right, slow down. 3's enough.
Sorry.
Well, my question.
Oh yeah, go on.
Yeah, so my question is, if I want to get someone the biggest book potentially of the year, according to the Sydney Morning Herald on the weekend, that is being released in 2 days' time, what book would that be, Mark? And who should I get that for? Because I just want the biggest book and I want to give it to someone. Who's going to want it?
I gotcha. So you're obviously talking about Ready Player 2 by Ernest Cline. No, I'm kidding.
No.
Hinting in a certain presidential memoir.
I am making a joke. I know what you're referring to.
I struggle to pick up when you make a joke, Mark.
It's very hard to tell.
It's because I'm so deadpan all the time.
That's correct.
That's what
okay. So the biggest book of the year, or at least the biggest presidential memoir of the year, is undoubtedly going to be A Promised Land, the Presidential Memoirs, Volume 1, by a little-known author by the name of Barack Obama. So I can't actually tell you whether this is a good read yet or not, because I haven't read it and nobody has.
No one has.
It is under an extremely strict embargo until Wednesday. But I have ordered it and I am eagerly awaiting my copy. So what to expect from it? It's the story of his life from his childhood right up to the end of his first term as president, with the promise of his second term as president and potentially what he's done in the years after to be covered in the Presidential Memoirs Volume 2. Two presidential memoirs.
Oh, no.
It's a throwback to what we did before.
Moving on.
You can't throw back if you don't achieve it the first time.
Fair enough. So just a little reminder of what Obama dealt with in his first term, the kind of subject matter that we could be looking at here. He dealt with the tail end of the global financial crisis. He passed the Affordable Care Act. There was the Deepwater Horizon oil spill, and there was the operation that took out Osama bin Laden as well. Plus, I assume this will also have a little bit of, the beginnings of the re-election campaign as well. And added to the pressure of all that, just being the first African-American president of the United States, and what it was like to kind of have that thrust upon him, and what it was like to go from being a community organizer and a senator to president, and dealing with these global players like Vladimir Putin, and just the inside view of life from the Oval Office. And I think Obama is a very intelligent writer. He's a very thoughtful writer. He's a very good writer, as anybody who's read Dreams from My Father or The Audacity of Hope would know. So I'm expecting big things from this. And I think this book will be perfect for the political junkie in your life. Yeah.
Or even just people that just love those kind of inspiring leadership stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just really good writing, just not really good nonfiction writing. Or
one more question for you, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You've got to rub shoulders through your special fame whore job with a lot of really interesting characters, famous and also just like incredible authors. So tell me about the non-fiction sphere. Like I've got friends who love just really inspiring, not necessarily biography, but just books to inspire, or about personal development, or how to be a better human being. Which, like, those people come to me and I'm always like, trying to push novels on them. I'm like, well, these help me be a better human being. If you want to be like me, read some literary fiction. But
and they go, no, thank you, Ben.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to be like you, reading literary fiction in cool shirts? That's like, but look, you've covered a lot of kind of areas of nonfiction there, and I'm going to try and do it justice by recommending one book that does it all. So this book is it's Phosphorescence by Julia Baird, and the subtitle of this book is Phosphorescence on Awe, Wonder, and the Things That Sustain You When the World Goes Dark. Does that not sound like a timely book title?
It really does.
And the reason that I think this book is perfect for everything that you just checked there, Ben, is because it's part popular science, it's part personal development, it's part philosophy, and it's part memoir. It kind of stems from Julia having a horrific struggle in her personal life with her health, with cancer, and having to go through several really invasive major operations. And it seems like that experience has really given her made her reflect a lot on the important things in life. And this book tries to share that in a scientific and philosophical way, but also in a very personal way. A couple of the chapters are addressed directly to her children. And it's, she backs up the things that she's talking about with studies. But basically, the central point is that the idea of that feeling of awe and wonder that you can encounter in life is actually good for you, not just in the sense of it being good in the moment, but it's good for you spiritually, mentally, physically. And I think coming to the end of this year, where we've all had to face all kinds of things, this really is a book that can kind of similarly to what Lee Sales's Any Ordinary Day did, kind of make you look at the darkness and manage to see the light or the hope or the awe and wonder of life in it. And it really is that good.
It also has a really beautiful cover, so it can be added to the really beautiful books that are perfect for gifting. Just as a lifestyle category manager, that's also important to me.
Guys, I know that I don't get to decide how the website looks, but can we have a category on the website for shirt-worthy book covers?
Oh, well, that would make shirts.
Phosphorescence is a good shirt.
You know what? You just wait, and you may see a list, a special Mark's list of books that would make great shirts. Please, someone make me a shirt in this cover design.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Just wait.
Publishers, if you're listening, make shirts and give them to me for free.
Yeah.
I take a men's medium until after Christmas, when it could be a large.
Yeah, I saw a question from someone a bit earlier, and I'm not sure if they're still watching, but I know we're doing a kids special on Wednesday, but I actually have an answer to their question, which is...
So the question was, do you have...
The question is, what is a good book about, Australian book about nature and the outdoors for my daughter, who's 6. And there's 2 books I'd recommend from the same author. It's Tim Flannery, everyone's favourite scientist. And the new one is coming out in 2 days' time. So it might be the biggest book. Maybe it won't be Barack Obama. Maybe it'll be this. It's called Explore Your World, Deep Dive into Deep Sea. And it's really fun, lots of graphics, lots of images, but lots of really great information for kids about all the creatures that live in the sea. And the other one is the first one that came out last year, which is the name of which I am just trying to find. Oh, that's right. It's called Weird, Wild, Amazing. So it's the first one in the Explore Your World series. And it's just about, it's what kids love, which is like cool facts about odd things. So it's all of the amazing animals that we have in Australia, also around the world, but it's very, he is Australian, so it's very Australian focused. And those 2 books will, as a 6-year-old, they might not be able to get everything out of it that's in that book, but it's a book that they will love now and will love again in 2, 3, 4 years' time. So it's a book that they will grow with. So I certainly recommend both of those Tim Flannery books. Also really nice hardcovers. Again, you know me, I love a beautiful book. So look very beautiful on your child's bookshelf, as well as actually the child would love to read.
Brilliant.
My nephew got the first one last year, and will, in case they're watching, may potentially get the second one this year, just maybe.
Yeah, we really should have told our family and friends to not watch this, because the spoilers for Christmas left, right, and center.
Yeah.
All right, we've got a couple more questions from the audience. One question. This is a slightly judgy one, but any recommendations for my sister who loves a bougie aspirational lifestyle?
Oh my goodness, there's just too many. I need more details. Can I just say, if she does not yet own a copy of Tom Ford, are you even really a bougie person at all? That's really all I have to say. I don't even have a copy of the Tom Ford book, but it is this big. It is huge. You can't even see my hands. That's how big it is. And it is very heavy. It is very beautiful. It is black. Just says Tom Ford on it. And it is amazing. It doesn't even matter what's inside. Honestly, I can't even remember what's inside. I'm sure the photos inside are gorgeous as well, but it's all about the coffee table styling of this book. It really is. The other books that are amazing as well, and are super popular, and I just have one behind me. Just one second. The Catwalk books. This one is Prada Catwalk. There's Prada, there's Yves Saint Laurent, there is Chanel. There's an updated Chanel that just came out like last month, which is fantastic. So it has all of Karl Lagerfeld's collections in them, until he unfortunately passed away. There is Dior, and who am I missing? Missing one. Yves Saint Laurent, Dior, Chanel. They're right behind Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton. I'm missing Louis Vuitton.
Right.
And then another one, which is just beautiful and little and makes you kind of sad that we can't go anywhere, but someday we will, is Forever Wondering by Emily Ristevsky. And she just does the most gorgeous, aspirational, why is this not my life photos. Yeah, hello. Yes, please. Thank you. I mean, I wouldn't be the one paddling that canoe, but, you know, I would be happy to be there. Absolutely gorgeous. The cover is beautiful. It's embossed. It's debossed. It's like pretty. It looks great on a shelf this way, that way, any which way. So all of those. Also, Sarah Wilson's newest book.
Yes.
Yeah. Whose title I cannot quite remember now, because titles are not the thing that I remember. I just remember what the covers look like. But I will tell you in 1 second as soon as I look it up on our very wonderful website, which has all the information on it.
It's another shirt-worthy book, Sarah Wilson's one.
Yeah, really is. It is called anything that's got more than one word titles. Just forget it. Oh, This One Wild and Precious Life.
That's it. I should have been able to recall that because I interviewed her. But
you should.
Yeah,
you should.
Bad.
Yeah, bad mark. But yes, I would recommend any, all, and all of those books.
Can I also throw in, I could be off the mark, but we had Carolyn Hirons on our Instagram the other day doing an interview about her book Skincare, and I think that would be good for a bougie aspirational person.
Potentially, although she's super down to earth and it's really like very sensible skincare like advice. So
Well,
it's
then
not
I
so
retract
much like
my recommendation.
No, but it's not so much like go to the Amazon and find this one thing that is $25 million per application and apply it under the full moon, twice every month or something. It's more like really sensible just to get beautiful glowing skin, whatever your age. So sure, but maybe not so much.
I've got we're almost out of time, but I just wanted to ask one more question from the audience. So this is kind of I think this kind of bounces off the kind of books that we were just talking about, but I'm going to give it a bit of a spin. So we've got a question about somebody has a friend who likes to travel but had to cancel their trip or their trips this year, as many of us did. Okay, I reckon this is a two-parter. There's travel books, but then there's novels set in places that really bring them to life. What do we reckon?
I think that for travel books, you can still buy travel books. I recommend anything from Lonely Planet. Oh, my goodness. I love these people that are asking these questions. Anything from Lonely Planet that is a book that is not just like a straight, here's a guide, go to these 7 places, but it's also just gives you facts and information about places, so you can really do a deep dive into the locations that you kind of want to go to when we are able to travel again, and really get inspired. I think is really important. By all these beautiful places. So there's a whole bunch of Lonely Planet books coming out this year that have just come out. And there's one which is coming out next month, which is called The Perfect Shot, which is just about how to take beautiful travel photography. And you can use and apply those lessons to your life now, wherever you are, so that when you do go on holidays, you can make everyone super, super jealous with how beautiful your photographs are and how much better your life is than theirs.
She's been robbing the lifestyle bookshelf the whole evening of just great recommendations, and I actually scored one on my own old bookshelf of old broken dreams books I tried to read and never finished. But this, for people who love to travel and can't, it's time to start traveling at home. And Marcia Langton's Welcome to Country is an incredible introduction to First Nations Australia, the places, urban and extra urban, whether you're exploring your own backyard or whether you're going out into the scrub. It's just this wonderful guide to the country. And it's a beautiful exploration of all things Indigenous that you might have taken for granted or not fully understood, or been like things that you might be as an Anglo like myself might be like a little bit embarrassed to ask dumb questions about. it's a gorgeous, really well put together resource. And there's a young person's, I think this is the young person's edition. My girlfriend who's a teacher was using this for a classroom. It's an incredible resource and
you're
a great
young
book for every shelf. It's a gift that will keep giving.
Yeah, on the back of that, I should have mentioned as well that there is another book coming out called Loving Country, which is basically a follow-up to Welcome to Country, and it's by
it's Bruce Pascoe, right?
Sorry, Bruce Pascoe, yep, and being co-written by Vicky. I don't have the book in front of me, so I'm going to mispronounce her name. But another academic who has like lots of great insider knowledge, and it's all about the sacred spaces in Australia. And what's amazing about this book is it is a book that will tell you how to go to these places and how to be guided there by local people and what to look for. But it also it really shows you what we've done to the country. So it's like, this is a sacred space. You should have seen this, but now this is what you'll see. But I feel like it's the same thing that we don't appreciate as much as we should. The same way that, lots of people go to see battlefields in France, and you don't see a battlefield, you just see a field. But it doesn't make it any less evocative. And that's kind of the feeling they're trying to get across, pardon me, in Loving Country, where you really can understand and appreciate why the country is so, and why these things that might to a non-Indigenous person's eyes just look like, oh, here's another piece of land, and why it's not. As well as being able to explore the country and just see so much more of what we often miss. So certainly that's coming out on the 2nd of December. So get that one just in time for Christmas as well. It's another beautiful book.
Excellent. All right. Well, I think that's just about as much time as we have tonight. And I want to thank you both for coming along and bringing along such brilliant recommendations. And thank you to everybody who tuned in to watch. Just letting you know that on Wednesday night, we're going to be doing this again, but we're going to be talking exclusively kids books with our kids and YA category manager, Sarah McDouling. We'll also be joined by our head of trade books, Joe Lewin. And if he's feeling better, our nonfiction category manager, but kid haver, joining in as well.
Kids will have hopefully recommended the books and read them first.
Yes, he won't be recommending any depressing memoirs, I'm sure. And you can also join me here again tomorrow night at 6 p.m, where I am going to be talking to Craig Rucastle about Fight for Planet 8. Awesome. So that's going to be a great chat as well. So busy week on the Booktopia Facebook page. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in. You can find links to all of the books that we mentioned tonight in the comments here. And yeah, good luck for Christmas. If you do have more questions around things you want recommended for the people in your life, please continue to ask them in the comments. We'll be answering your comments all week, and our category managers will be more than happy to help you find the right book for the right person. So my Christmas shopping is done. Thanks, guys.
No worries, Mark.
Bye, Mark.
Bye.